Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiret Shunvata Katha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantastoya Bhadrani Vidunoti Surhi Satam Nashtaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 32, Texts 42 and 43. Bahirjata viragaya shantachittaya diyatam nirmatsaraya suchaye yasyaham preyasam priyah. Bahihi, for what is outside, jata vairagya, jat vairagya, to him who has developed detachment, shantachitya, whose mind is peaceful, diyatam, let this be instructed, nirmatsaraya, non-envious, suchaya, perfectly cleansed, yasya, of whom, aham, I, prayasham, of all that is very dear, priyaha, the most dear. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This instruction should be imparted by the spiritual master to persons who have taken the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be more dear than anything, who are not envious of anyone, who are perfectly cleansed, and who have developed detachment for that which is outside the purview of Krishna consciousness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the beginning, no one can be elevated to the highest stage of devotional service. Hari Bhakta means the one who does not hesitate to accept the reformatory process for becoming a bhakta. In order to become a devotee of the Lord, one has to accept a spiritual master and inquire from him about how to progress in devotional service. To serve a devotee, to chant the holy name according to a certain counting method, to worship the deity, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita from a realized person, and to live in a sacred place where devotional service is not disturbed are the first out of 64 devotional services. For making progress in devotional service, one who has accepted these 5 chief activities is called a devotee. One must be prepared to offer the necessary respect and honor to the spiritual master. He should not be unnecessarily envious of his god brothers. Rather, if a god brother is more enlightened and advanced in Krishna consciousness, one should accept him as almost equal to a spiritual master, and one should be happy to see such god brothers advance in Krishna consciousness. A devotee should always be very kind to the general public in instructing Krishna consciousness, because that is the only solution for getting out of the clutches of Maya. That is really a humanitarian work, for it is the way to show mercy to other people who need it very badly. The word Sushubhi Shushubhiratya indicates a person who faithfully engages in serving the spiritual master. One should give personal service and all kinds of comforts to the spiritual master. A devotee who does not, is so is also a bona fide candidate for taking this instruction. The word Bahir, Jata Vairagya, means a person who has developed detachment from external and internal material propensities. Not only is he detached from activities which are not connected to Krishna consciousness, but he should be internally averse to the material way of life. Such a person must be non-envious and should think of the welfare of all living entities, not only of the human beings, but living entities other than human beings. The word Suchaya, Suchaya means one who is cleansed both externally and internally. To become actually cleansed externally and internally, one should chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna or Vishnu, constantly. The word Diyatam means that knowledge of Krishna consciousness should be offered by the spiritual master. The spiritual master must not accept a disciple who is not qualified. He should not be professional and should not accept disciples for monetary gains. The bona fide spiritual master must see the bona fide qualities of a person whom he is going to initiate. An unworthy person should not be initiated. The spiritual master should train his disciple in such a way so that in the future, only the Supreme Personality of Godhead will be the dearmost goal of his life. In these two verses, the qualities of a devotee are fully explained. One who has actually developed all the qualities listed in these verses is already elevated to the post of a devotee. If one has not developed all these qualities, he still has to fulfill this condition in order to become a perfect devotee. Text 43. Ya idam shrunuyadamba shraddhaya purusha sakrita yo vabhidhate machitha sah yeti padavim chame. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone who once meditates upon me with faith and affection, who hears and chants about me, surely goes back to home, back to Godhead. Purport. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 32nd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Entanglement in Fruitive Activities. Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Pashata Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you, assembled Vaishnavas, for giving me this opportunity to speak for my own purification. I'll summarize today's verses from the lectures from senior devotees and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Please forgive me if I add my own meaning or interpretation to this. So in this final two verses, we have been given the qualities of the devotees. And if devotee is in an initial stage, then how the devotee can progress to become a perfect devotee. So the formula is simple here given. So we have to develop these 4 or 5 qualities at least to begin with to become a perfect devotee. But is it possible to do it on our own? No. So here the important point is that in order to one become a devotee of the Lord, one has to accept a spiritual master and inquire from him about how to progress in devotional service. To become a devotee, one has to chant holy name and according to certain counting method. Because as we read earlier that holy name, chanting of the holy name is the yuga dharma of Kali Yuga, and that is the only method by when we can purify our mind. Then to worship the deity, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita from a realized person, and then, if possible, to leave the sacred place where devotional service is not disturbed. Or we can, once we grow in our devotional service, we can make our place in such a way that even though there are maybe disturbances externally, but in our mind is not disturbed by our external disturbances. So we have to take that meaning here as well. That in Bhagavad Gita 4.34, Krishna says that Tadvidi pariprashnena sevaya upadeshantyanti negnanam gnanani satadarshinam. The path of the spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord himself. So no one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following the principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master. And a person in a disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as today is a fashion of foolish pretenders that they come up with their own process and they use sense gratification methods to dilute the and then to bewilder the people. So in Bhagavatam 6.3.19 it says that dharmam tu shakshad bhagavad pranitam. The path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Therefore, mental speculations or dry arguments cannot help lead one to the right path. Nor by independently study of books of knowledge can one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Now, how do you accept spiritual master? So, such spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. And here in purport even mentioned that if we should not be envious of our God brothers and God sisters. If they are elevated than us, then we should treat them as equal as spiritual master. We should give them uh, the respect as good as spiritual master. So satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in the spiritual life. Now, inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination of spiritual understanding. Unless there is a submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will be not effective. When we approach spiritual master, our mindset should be humble to get knowledge, to get realization from spiritual master, not to uh, trap him in just a series of questions. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when the spiritual master he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with the genuine spiritual understanding. Now, in some cases, spiritual master may not be uh, physically present close to us, but we need to understand the Guru Tattva. Guru Tattva is not just a physical body. Uh, Krishna is the actually the original spiritual master. So he presents as a super soul in everyone's body, and he presents in body of our spiritual master as well. So when one sincerely, even though not in close proximity of spiritual master, but one as a disciple, if he sincerely follows the practices, Krishna sees that, super soul sees that, and then blesses him with the progress in the spiritual life. So we need to understand that spiritual master is not necessarily has to see physically where you are, what are you doing, but he knows that in your heart, like what you're doing and what your desires are and how sincere you are. Based on that, we automatically will make the progress. So, um, so and then so we should avoid blind following, and absurd inquiries are condemned. Not only one should hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get the clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. So a bona fide spiritual master is by nature is very kind towards the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. And then final verse, Krishna also says that Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. That means once who knows, in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Krishna says that one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take this birth again in this material world, but he attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So by following this process of chanting and us worshipping deity, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita in association of devotee, and then leaving a sacred place and performing devotional service, we gradually clean our mind. And when our mind is cleaned, we make a progress towards our devotional service. And then when we make the progress, we finally see the ourselves. We understand ourselves. And when we understand ourselves, we understand our position. And when we understand our position, we understand our relationship with Krishna. And when we realize our position with Krishna, then we are able to attain Krishna. And that way, that is the whole thing. So that is only possible by taking shelter at the lotus feet of a spiritual master, following his instructions sincerely and serve him, and chant the name of Krishna and associate with Vaishnavas. It's very important that uh, not just the physical service of the spiritual master. Of course, it's when opportunity comes, we should serve spiritual master in a physical form by doing some service to him, like pressing his legs or washing his clothes and other things. But most important service, and Prabhupada also mentioned here, is the Vapu Seva. What it means is following the instructions of the spiritual master is most important. It doesn't matter where you live. If you follow the instructions of your spiritual master, that means you are eternally constantly associating with the spiritual master. And all our spiritual master, our gurus in our ISKCON, they have shown again and again. They may have met Srila Prabhupada maybe once or twice in their lifetime, and some may have not met. But by taking the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, they become advanced devotees. So that is also very important. Following instructions of spiritual master is very, very, very important. So that is only possible when we chant our Hare Krishna mantra regularly according to spiritual master's instruction. That give us a strength to perform the service and follow the instructions of spiritual master. And gradually we make progress in our devotional service, and we attain and reach Krishna. So that I would like to conclude the summary.